Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you may be listening to this podcast. I just want to get on here and I want to say thank you for all my listeners, those who have subscribed to my episodes, who have listened to my episodes. I want to say thank you. I appreciate your support, and I will always be here. I'm getting things together so that I'll be able to have one-on-one conversations. We get to speak face to face. I want to get this all set up because I want to be able to speak to my listeners or speak to someone who needs a listening ear or needs to just vent or needs to just express themselves. And that's what I'm here for. Because I know, when you have been in an abusive relationship or when you're in an abusive relationship, you need to vent to someone else. You can't vent to the person who's abusing you because it would make matters worse. So that's why, I want to take this time to say, if you want to talk to me or express your feelings, you're more than welcome to. I'm not going to judge you because I know what you're experiencing. I know what you're going through, and I know how you feel. There was no one that I could have talked to. There was no one that could have vent to because I didn't know what to do. I wanted to keep it a secret. I wanted people to look at me like, you are so happy. I didn't want them to see the real me, so I continued to wear a mask over myself, not, wanting to let anyone see the real me because I felt so ashamed, I felt nasty, if I could put it like that. I just felt like no one would understand. So I kept it to myself. And I never realized the more I kept it, the more I didn't want to talk about it, the more I wanted to keep it a secret, the more I was hurting myself. And when you're in an abusive relationship, you don't realize, the damage not only is your abuser doing to you, but what you're doing to yourself when you want to keep, like I kept hiding it, didn't want to speak about it, didn't want no one to know what was going on with me. I felt that if I told somebody, they would look at me in such a bad way. So I appreciate, you listening to the podcast, you listening to the episodes. I appreciate it because I know what you're going through because I've been there. And I just want to get on here and say, I'm here for you whenever you want to talk or express yourself, or if you want to send me an email, speaking about what you're going through, I'm here for that. Excuse me, but I just want to let my listeners know that I appreciate you. I appreciate you listening to my episodes because I know if someone's listening, I'm reaching out. Someone is being helped. And when it's time, the individual will want to speak, will want to talk, will want to express herself. So I'm not here to say, to push you into doing something. I know when you're ready to talk, you will talk because that's how it was with me. It took me a while because I didn't know how to reach out to anyone because I didn't have no one, there wasn't podcasts back when I was going through anything. There wasn't no one, talking about it because it was something that it was hush hush, you didn't want to talk about it. So it was kept under wraps, if I could use that word, if I could say that expression. So, but now, there's times where single women can express themselves, tell what they're going through, express how they're feeling, and there's escape routes, there's doors that open up, there's opportunities for single women to talk, to express herself, to get help, to get out of abusive situations. There's opportunities there now. Well, when I was going through what I was going through, there wasn't opportunities, or I didn't see the opportunities, or I was too afraid to even express or anything like that. But now there's women's shelters where you can go to receive help. There's people that, there's someone you could talk to, but always make sure that when you're talking to someone that you could trust them, because that was my issue. My problem was I didn't know who to trust. I love my family, but I didn't know how to tell my family, tell my mom, tell my sisters, my brother what I was going through. I didn't know how to express that. If you hear that in the background, that's the air condition. I didn't know how to come about and say, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm experiencing. Could you please help me? Because I kept going back. So if I was to tell somebody, talk to them about it, then turn around, it was like a revolving door with me. I kept going back, even though what he was doing, I kept going back because I was stuck in a situation where I thought that this is, he would always say, how much he loved me, how much he needed me, and he would always come, with those compelling words, those comforting words which I thought were comforting words. Where he would always say, I love you and I need you. I don't know what I would do without you. And at the same time, it would be okay for a while and then it would go back downhill. So I was stuck in a rut. I was stuck in a situation where I wanted to leave, but I was too afraid to leave. So, I stayed. And, there's always a way. There's always an opportunity. There's always a door. There's always someone there for single women, and that's what my goal is, to be there for the single women, to let them know you can escape, you can leave, you can get help, you can get out and not return. You can escape that situation, and look back and be a voice for another single woman that's going through the same thing that you've been through, by expressing yourself, by telling what you went through, by explaining, what hurt you, what you went through, and the what all it was. It may take time. It took me a while, but as soon as I let it go, expressed and told and said, this is what I went through: the sexual abuse, the abuse of words, the slapping, the knocking down, the cussing out, the nasty words, the telling me I was nothing, I would never be nothing. And then, when I would leave, he would say, I am so sorry. The words would come back because I wanted to be loved so bad, and I thought this was love. I didn't, he was. I would say he was the one that I gave my that he was the only one that I would allow to have, to go and have sex. I didn't have a boyfriend before him, and so I didn't know anything. I just, when he asked, I gave, and then after he realized that, I got her, I got pregnant, while I was my senior year, and there was no abuse then because I was still in school. I was still living with still living with my mother. The abuse didn't start, and then he wasn't doing no kind of, name calling, sexual abuse or anything, um, while I was living with my mom, or when sneak and be with him. There was no abuse. There was no cussing. There was no slapping. There was no belittling me. There was none of that. It was all nice. And so, until I moved in, and it still wasn't, there was no abuse, there was nothing, no sexual abuse, there was no hard words, there was no, beating, slapping, kicking, knocking down, cussing and all that. It wasn't there until I'd been there with him for years. I said, the abuse didn't start till, I think I've been with him, I'd say 5 or 7 years, somewhere in that. And then it didn't just come all of a sudden. It was a gradual thing. It was slowly bringing in the name calling, and then after the name calling, after he did what he did, he apologized, and I stayed with him, with my daughter. I moved in with him, and my grandfather would always tell me, never move in with a man. Get your own place and have a man move in with you so you could put him out. You know, I didn't listen. I was, hard headed, young, and felt that they didn't know what they was talking about. This, how we are when we're young. Some people, when they're young, they don't want to listen to the older people because they felt, I felt they didn't know what they was talking about because this man loved me. and he was treating me so nice and so sweet. Yeah, I would move in with him because he was so, we would do things together. I would go, and spend time, with his mom and his sisters. And we would do things together. We would go out of town. Um, his mom or my mom would keep, you know, my oldest daughter. And we would spend time. We would go out, and we would have nice times. And so I got to the point where I got so involved in him that to me he couldn't do no wrong. To me he couldn't do any. If he slapped me, if I felt that was my fault. So I stayed. And like I said, at first the abuse was just a slap every now and then, telling me off or cussing me out every now and then he would never hit me so that he would leave a bruise, because when I would go visit his parents and my parents, they would see the bruise or whatever, if he hurt me, and they would see it. So he made sure that if he would hit me, it wouldn't be no mark that anyone would see. And when I would go to visit my mother, I didn't tell her what I was going through. Because I didn't feel it was that bad. It was just a cussing out or a slapping or, a hitting. No black eyes, no broken bones or nothing like that. In the beginning, it was nothing like that. It was just, a shove here, a hit there, a push there, looking at me, cussing me out, something like that. But then after, a couple more years, that's when it started getting different. The abuse started getting different. And, but I was still still with him. So it didn't occur to me that this would get worse. I felt that it wouldn't get any worse because he would always say, I apologize, I love you, forgive me, and I would do just that. I would forgive him, go back. When I would leave him, I wouldn't. When I go stay with my grandmother or my mother, I wouldn't say, he's beating me or he's doing. No, I just said I'm just tired. He just won't treat me right. Just always talking about me, cussing me out. I never told them that he was beating me. And then I never told no one about when the sexual abuse started. I didn't tell no one. That was something I wouldn't tell no one because I felt that was my fault. Because I, whenever he wanted to have sex, and if I said no, he would get mad and he would leave. So I didn't, figure anything would come behind that. And then when the sexual abuse started, it was unbelievable. It was rough. It was very hurting. It hurt, but I couldn't say anything. I couldn't tell nobody what was going on. He would always apologize, and he said, please forgive me, I'm just so sorry. Those words would come, roll off his tongue. So I understand. Like I said, I appreciate those who have been supporting me, have subscribed, or have been listening. I just wanted to let you know, how, what made me come to the decision to talk about this and to appreciate that even, through my talking, I'm healing myself. I'm being healed myself, so I understand. So don't give up and say there's no hope. There's hope. It may take a little bit because you're in it, and your abuser he knows just what to do, how to bake that line, and, so thank you for your time that you have listened to my podcast, and I appreciate your listening, and when I get it all set up, I'll be able to have one-on-one talks, where we can do a video chat or we could just do a microphone where we don't see each other, we're just speaking. And I'm excited about that because I want you to see me. And I want you to know, that you can make it. And it's maybe a difficult ladder to climb, but don't never stop climbing it. Never stop going up the ladder. Like I said, it's baby steps. And baby steps, like when a baby start walking, they fall down. They get up, they fall down. They're not steady. They wobble back and forth. But they're determined to keep walking, and the mother's determined to encourage that baby to walk. So I am determined to encourage you to, even if you fall, get up. I'm here. I'm holding your hand. Not naturally holding your hand, but spiritually in my holding your hand, guiding you, because that's what the mother does, guide her, that child to take that next step, to keep going forward, keep walking. You stumble, the baby may cry because they fall. The mother don't tell that baby off, pick the baby up and embrace that baby and say, it's okay. It's okay. But she keep encouraging that baby to keep it up until that baby is able to take that next step, to keep going up. They keep walking till she's stable on her. The baby is stable to be able to, not keep falling. But the baby's determined to keep until they get their strive to, I can walk. I don't have to use the walker. I'm doing it. So that's what, I'm here to tell you. Keep doing. If you fall, get up. If you stumble, that's okay. Babies don't just immediately start walking and don't fall. They fall. But they get up and they make a next step. And sometimes you just sit there and just look, or they may cry. The mother don't tell them off. The mother go and embrace the baby and hug the baby and let the baby know you could do it. So that's what I'm here for, to let you know you could do it. You could do it. Keep on going. Keep it up. Keep striving. Keep walking. Keep going forward. So just thank you so much for your time that you have listened to my podcast, have listened to me. And sometimes when I'm talking, I'm venting. I may not, I'm not cussing, but I'm venting because I'm letting you know, what I went through and how hard it was and how sad I was, how miserable I was, how I hated myself. I hated everything about life. But I was determined, there's got to be a change, and I made that change. So I just want to tell you that I love you. I will always be here for you. I am a supporter for single women in abusive relationship, and that God loves you, and so do I. Have a blessed day, and always remember, you are somebody. You are an awesome woman. You're going to survive. You're going to be a survivor, and you're going to help another woman be a survivor. Don't give up. God loves you. Be blessed. Thank you.